The brand new M1 iMac from Apple is going to hit the streets in just a couple of days. And while yes, it is a fully all-in-one device and comes with everything that you could need to get it running, there are some things that could make the experience just a little bit better. So what are they? Let's find out. We'll try slamming all three initial accessories at once. It didn't work out too well. What's up, everyone? I'm the Everyday Dad, and if I can figure it out, you can figure it out. So I love that this computer is so incredible. I like it way better than I thought I would. And again, I would like to thank Apple for letting me borrow this before mine gets in. So I did pre-order one of these myself. It's silver. I'm not much of a colorful person, so that's why we got orange here. So either way, I think this computer is awesome. And yes, obvious statement out front, obvious. The way that this is built and the way that it's marketed is as an all-in-one device. I mean, you get a keyboard, you get a mouse with it. So you really don't need anything to get this up and running if all you are going to do is use the computer by itself. You plug this in, all you're going to do is browse the internet. Okay, you don't need to watch you can watch the rest of the video, but you don't necessarily need to watch the rest of the video. But if you're going to use this as a productivity machine, or if you're going to use this as part of an ecosystem, there are some things that I think will make this experience much better. And we're going to go through what I think of all of these things. So first off, let's just talk about the accessories that can come with this. So with the iMac Pro, you can get it bundled with the Magic Keyboard with Touch ID. You can get with the Magic Trackpad and the Magic Mouse. These are great. And if you get one of the colored options, like this is the orange iMac, you will get orange accessories. They do look a little pink under this light, but it looks very orange. And it's nice that, you know, if you are somebody that has an eye for design or matching color schemes, this will be incredible. Like, you don't have to, okay, well, this one's space gray and this one's silver and that one's orange and that one's rose gold. All of it will match as soon as you buy it. And these are really good. The standout feature of all of these for me is the Magic Keyboard with the Touch ID. This is functionality that I've been asking for years. I like that my MacBook has Touch ID, but if I have the MacBook set up in a desk working from home situation, I can't use that Touch ID. Nor can I use it on my Mac Mini. So the fact that they're coming out with keyboards that have this, I'm very excited about. Now, you can only have this paired with one Mac at a time. I currently have this paired with the iMac. There's a secure connection that only lets you use the Touch ID for one computer. For clarification's sake, you can have this paired to different computers via Bluetooth and use this as a keyboard with lots of different computers, but you can only have it paired to one computer at a time for the secure connection for the Touch ID. Pretty good keyboard, but the buttonette situation is that the Logitech MX line exists. Now, I use both the Logitech MX Master keys and the MX Master 3 mouse. Now, you've seen in previous videos me talk about the MX Master 3 mouse. This is probably the best mouse ever made. This is my favorite mouse of all time. And I bet you can see that I've used this so much. This is starting to get a little worn. I've been using this for what, a little over a year now? This mouse is incredible. One of the things that I like about the Magic Mouse is because of the way it's set up, you can use a lot of the same gestures from the trackpad on the mouse, which means you can do scrolling laterally, which is really important if you do photo or video editing. Well, on the MX Master 3, you actually get a scroll wheel for vertical and a scroll wheel for horizontal. So good. Plus, it just is so comfortable to fit in the hand. You got lots of customizable buttons on here. There's even one hidden here that you can't really see, but it works. But really good, you can charge it via USB-C from the front. So you can have it plugged in and use it at the same time, where you do not get that option here on the Magic Mouse. But the MX, the thing that we haven't talked about yet is this keyboard. This keyboard is probably the best keyboard I've ever used. This is so comfortable to type on. Can you hear this? Oh my goodness, these keys are so crisp. They're so clean. They are so comfortable to type on. I think I've said so 5 times in the last 30 seconds because this is the best keyboard I've ever owned. It is much heavier than the Magic Keyboard. Even the Magic Keyboard with the numeric keypad on it, this is much heavier and a little bit bigger. But I like that it's automatically at a little bit of a wedge shaped. You can see it right here. One of the things I like is when my keyboard is a little bit of a wedge. Helps me when typing, and I don't necessarily like always hunching over a keyboard. So this keyboard is so good. Plus, if you're like me and you go between Windows and Mac machines via a push of a switch, this keyboard can be set up to both either Windows mode or Mac mode. You can see it right here. Option, Command, Control. All of the functionality can be moved across, and it can be paired to 3 different computers at once. Same with the MX Master 3 here in the back. These are expensive, but this is called the best accessories, not the cheapest accessories. These are incredible. I highly recommend these as a keyboard mouse combo. One of the big weaknesses that you're going to have to overcome on the M1 iMac, just by the way it's set up with how small and how slim it is, you've only got the 4 USB-C ports. 2 of them are Thunderbolt, 2 of them are not Thunderbolt, and if you get the base model, you don't get the extra 2. You'll only have 2 Thunderbolt ports. But what if you need like USB-A, you need SD cards, stuff like that? I've been using this dock. Ooh, it's all kind of dirty because it's actually my dock. I was using the CalDigit TS3 Plus, which is a perfectly fine dock, but a couple of months ago I switched over to this. This is the OWC Thunderbolt 3 dock. I use this just because I like how it's shaped a little bit better and it works a little better for my workflow. But what this gives you is micro SD, SD, headphone, USB-A, and USB-C straight from the front. So any accessories that you might need, like whether you need to pair a new device or you need to charge your iPhone or charge any of your keyboard stuff, you can do all of that from this hub. Plus on the back, you get lots of USB-A, Ethernet, USB-C for power, USB-C for monitor and power, a mini display port, and then the power option. This thing is incredibly useful, and you're gonna need some kind of a dock. Like, if you aren't only using USB-C accessories, you're gonna need some kind of a dock, and this is the one that I've been using, and I highly recommend it. Nobody provided this to me, I just bought this myself. I know OWC now has a Thunderbolt 4 version, but I don't have Thunderbolt 4. Neither does this. It's USB-C 4, not Thunderbolt 4. This is still Thunderbolt 3. So Thunderbolt 3 docks, still gonna work for you. You're definitely gonna need one. But if you are trying to save a little money, you don't need a full dock. Maybe you just need to plug in an HDMI connection to something, or you need just SD cards. You can always buy the simple Apple branded dongles. I use these quite often. This is the one with the HDMI, the USB-A, and the USB-C. So you can plug in HDMI, you can plug in an accessory, and this is more for MacBooks than on the iMac. You can also do power delivery if needed. These are pricey, but you can have confidence that these will work because they are first-party Apple stuff. And then the SD card reader, USB-C to SD card. I carry one of these with me anywhere I go because you never know when you're going to need to read an SD card. You can get like one of those cheaper dongles, and I do have cheaper dongles in other videos, but the reason I'm shying away from those here is you've got an iMac, it's probably going to be plugged in 24/7, and on some of those budget options, they can get pretty warm if left in all of the time. They're fine for like travel, or they're fine if you're moving around with a MacBook, but if you're going to be sitting stationary and your computer's always going to be working, I would go with first-party stuff or with bigger, legitimate docks. Okay, let's talk about one free one real quick. We kind of skipped over it, but I put it right here so that I could talk about it. This iMac is so small that you could probably use it as a travel computer. I know there are some creators that used to use the old iMac Pros and the 27-inch iMacs as travel computers, but how are you going to transport this thing around? It's not like it folds up like a laptop. You can put it in your backpack. Well, the best way to do that is actually to use the box that it came in. So I keep these around just to use this as a transport option. And this new box is really, I know you're being like, Gary, you're just trying to pad the length of the video by talking about the box. That's not true. This box will be really great to transport this around. I like that they've updated the handle. This used to be made out of a very thin plastic that would come out of the box all the time. So I had a lease for an iMac Pro for a while, and when I shipped that back when my 2-year lease was up, that box was destroyed just so I could pray that I could get that iMac into my truck. That box was done. This box looks really good, and it's going to be the best option for transporting this iMac if you do want to use this as a portable computer solution, and it's small enough. I mean, look at this. It's small enough that you could legitimately do that. Okay, we got a couple of other things that I'd like to touch on quick. You can get this with up to 2 terabyte solid state drive. That's not a lot if you're into like content creation. So you could need some kind of external storage solution. These are what I use. If you just need bulk storage and that's it, you can get these spinning drives from Lacie. Well, you can get them from any brand. I use the ones from Lacie because you can find these for dirt cheap. This is 4 terabytes. I think it was for like 80 bucks. It's USB-C. You can offload all your files right onto this and in another place. You should never have all of your files saved to one place, or one small problem could lose all your stuff. Don't do that. So you can get a whole bunch of these, back up all your footage, and then if you do need a little more workspace, let's say you only get the 256 gigabyte option and you need a little more space to actually get videos rendered, or you need big files or big presentations or big videos, I like the Samsung solid state drive. This is the T5. It's a little older, it's a little slower, but you can find them for cheaper online. This is the Samsung T7. It's faster. It's like a credit card size as opposed to the squat size of the T5. They are a little more pricey, but it's not outrageous. If you're already buying a solid state drive, the price difference isn't that big. Plus you can get the T7s if you're into like biometric approval for like your data. You can set this up to need your fingerprint to unlock it. I don't have it set up because I'm in way too much of a hurry or I'm too lazy. It's one of the two. I'm either in a hurry or it's because I'm lazy, but I never set this up. But you could easily set it up if you wanted to. But always have some kind of external solid state drives for that. Okay, the M1 Max do have a problem with external display support. All of the M1 Max, except the M1 Mac Mini, because it has an HDMI port, they can only export to one additional monitor, except if you want to use a touchscreen. So this is going to be a weird one. This is my iPad Air. I did not bring out my iPad Pro or any of the really expensive iPads for this. But if you do want to use this for like drawing or tablet or design work, you can use an iPad Air 4. We're not talking about the keyboard. We're not talking about the Magic Keyboard. It's just the keyboard that I happen to have it in. You can get an iPad Air 4 sidecar to the iMac and then be able to use the iMac with a touchscreen, no problem. I don't actually like computers with touchscreens because I get them all messed up, or why do I want to work and then mess with my computer? But if you have something like this, hey, I'm already on it. I've got my Apple Pencil. It lets me draw. It lets me design. It lets me do all that stuff. So I do think there is a very strong use case and a very strong argument to say, hey, you should probably get an iPad if you want to get the most out of your iMac. Lots of I's. iPad, iMac. We don't have an iPod here, so don't worry. We have AirPods, though, but it's not an i. Let's talk about those real quick. So a lot of what we all have had to do over the last year is working from home. This is actually set up really well with its speakers and its microphone array, but sometimes you're in a place where your kids are running around the house, your wife's doing some work, you don't necessarily want everybody to hear your meeting. So I would say get a pair of headphones. The headphones that I'm going to say, just because I can, again, this is not the cheapest accessories. These are just the best accessories. I'm going to say the best option are the AirPods Max. These headphones are incredibly comfortable. They will pair instantaneously with the iMac. You get fantastic audio quality, great battery life. These are, now I don't use over-the-ear headphones very often. I'm more of an AirPods Pro person myself because I use them for running all the time. But if you are going to be stuck at home, or if you're going to be stuck out and about in a meeting and you want legit noise cancellation and the best audio quality that you're going to find in a pair of Bluetooth headphones, well, here you go. AirPods Max for the iMac. Okay, and then one of the other cool things about this Mac is how good the microphones are. We'll talk more about this when we get into videos digging into the actual usability and use cases of this iMac, but the microphones on this are really, really good. However, sometimes you're not going to be close enough to the computer that the microphones are going to work the best. So you might need an external microphone. And this has been my favorite microphone for working from home over the past year. When I do meetings, this is the microphone that I have plugged in. This is the Rode NT USB Mini. All you have to do is plug it USB-C to your computer via USB-C. It pairs by itself. The audio quality is so good. Now, normally, like right now, we've got an XLR mic, stuff like that. It's not going to sound that good, but if you can get this set up on like a cheap stand and have this relatively close to your mouth, you will have the best sounding audio in the meeting. And audio is very important. We all don't necessarily consciously think this, but when I hear bad audio in a meeting, I kind of feel like the person doesn't care that much. So the better your audio can sound, just subconsciously, the higher we'll rate your opinion. You can go a real long way with a not too expensive, just USB microphone like this guy. I recommend this all of the time. And then the last thing we want to talk about today, let's say you do buy this, you're going to give this to your kids, you're going to give this to somebody to play some games. One of the cool things is now Macs support most major console controllers. And my favorite console controller of this current generation is the PS5 controller. You can pair this to the iMac, well, any Macs, but this video is about the iMac. You compare this to this iMac and play all your games. You don't need to buy a separate gaming controller if you already have one in your house. This controller is so comfortable. I really like this. I'm kind of a PlayStation person. I have an Xbox. I have an Xbox Series, whatever I don't know what Xboxes are anymore, but I'm more of a PlayStation person. This controller's super comfortable. I like all the clickiness. Can you hear the clickiness? It's great. I already have it in the house, so I like that it pairs and gives you really great feedback and really great gaming out of the M1 iMac. So yeah, these are all of my favorite accessories that I plan on using with my iMac when it shows up here in a couple of days, hopefully in a couple of days. But what are some options that you're excited about? What are some options that you would use for an all-in-one computer like this M1 iMac? Leave me a comment below. I'm very curious to see what everybody else uses. I find a lot of stuff that I buy from your comments down below, so let me know. Very excited to see. And if you like this video and you are now considering buying an M1 iMac, here is my unboxing video where you can see just how cool it is and what all the cool stuff that comes in the box with it. You can find it by clicking right here. Click, 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 click. Thanks for watching.